Welcome everyone. Good evening. And I know everyone's already excited regarding the Premier League and club football being back. So obviously we couldn't miss the chance to get on a fellow fan panelists and just have a discussion, banter, everything that's fans are known for. Today, for obviously the game week one, the highlight of game week one is Chelsea versus Liverpool. So with us, I have Soham from Thane Blues, and we will be kicking off this discussion. But before that, obviously, don't forget to follow the social media, and obviously do get in touch with Thane Blues as well, and because they have so many events coming up. So if you're a Chelsea fan or any other club fan, do get in touch with them. So so first, again, let me just ask you, what made you part of Thane Blues? Like, what is Thane Blues?
So, okay, basically, when we started Thane Blues, because I'm the pioneer who started this supporters club in Thane. First of all, for everyone's knowledge, it's me who started with one of my fellow Blues. We always used to go to various places, be it Bombay or be it Navi Mumbai. Back then how it was traveling, then the problem because we did not have a proper transportation, we did not have a bus service, we did not have a train
Even now,
service
it's
or
the
something.
same thing.
But at least now you have some kind of community, right? Like Ola or
Yeah,
Uber or something like that. Back then you had just this Kali Pili and all those stuff. And screening was like back then it was not a big thing. But now considering the Premier League and all this supporters club coming together and watching in a global scale, the market of Premier League football has increased in the country and all of across the globe. And coming to
right,
your point of asking of Thane Blues, we started with a main objective of having something to enjoy in Thane where people can still come to us and still watch a game of football which is very close to their homes, and they feel closely connected towards Chelsea, because back then we know how it was like traveling 25 to 30 kilometers, and you know how it is like if you lose a game and then coming back, it's so difficult, right? So
yeah,
it is, yeah, like way. So when we started with a sole initiative that let's increase a fan club, and then it was more important that what we give in the return, because for us screening was not the first thing. For us, helping the community to grow and football to grow in the city was a more important thing. And so
right.
there's so well said by everyone that Asian Games we have an Indian football men's team as well as a women's team which will be participating. It's going to be a fantastic thing for us in the near future. Just imagine just imagine,
Yeah.
just hypothetically, if we qualify for the Olympics, what will be the football scale in this country? It will be more than cricket, I believe that.
Exactly.
We
And
started.
since past few matches, the past few tournament, the past few months, obviously our form has just picked up, and especially if I'm just talking about the men's team currently, our form has picked up, and you could see the sold out crowds in the stadium cheering on, regardless whether we have considered a goal or not. And the same has been expected of the women's team because now obviously the women's game is growing as well, and obviously it's not men's versus women, but it's just men's and women who are part of the Indian national team, and we as supporters are going to obviously back them for the Asian Games, like you mentioned. And I think both men's and women's team are obviously the favorites to win, and I think that is the expectation we have right now. So, on to the discussion. But before that, we had a comment from Everest. Yes, hello. This is a new season, and obviously everybody is optimistic. No losses so far. The board is resetted, and we obviously, as fellow Chelsea fans, I think even you can agree that we can already forget past the last season.
Oh
And
no, I do not want to
I
remember
can
the
just
last season.
imagine if we had to travel after last season, those 25, 30 kilometers which you mentioned. Imagine.
Man, it was like, honestly, last season was such a pain that my mom doesn't watch football. So asked me, "Son, don't you have a Chelsea game tonight?" And I was like, "Is it really a Chelsea game tonight?" It was that way
Yeah,
for us because it was so horrifying to watch the club which we adored struggling to the glory which we struggled last season. It was so horrifying to watch as a
right,
Chelsea fan. It was painful from the bottom of my heart. It was really painful to see what we went through.
right. So now let's quickly dwell into the game week one, and obviously our topic is Chelsea versus Liverpool. First game back, new manager, new players, new additions to be made. Whatever it is, we'll come on to that part as well. But
Yes.
this game is back at Stamford Bridge. How are you already feeling about it? How excited are you?
I'm pretty excited for about how does Pochettino develop this squad, because what we have seen in the preseason, he's really kicking people's what
Yeah,
all. So because people are staying fit and they are looking more aggressive now, and finally I see a team playing, not as an individuals. We are playing not
exactly.
as individuals. We are playing as a team now, and finally I can, quote Drogba's statement which he made last season, that this is not a team I recognize. Finally, I recognize this team, that this team is playing for not an individual goal, it's for a collective goal of doing something better, which we were not doing since last couple of seasons, which we did quite well under Tuchel, but after that, we just went into a downfall.
Right. Like you compare, like you mentioned, Tuchel. So if you compare last season, the preseason, and this season, you can obviously see the change in the results, but even in the performances, you could see each and every player and everybody given an opportunity who wants to be given an opportunity, who want to stay at the club, who want to prove themselves. And I think this bifurcation, what Pochettino and his team has done, that those who are either going to leave or want to leave are going to stay back at Cobham. They can train on their own, and the others who want to play and who want to prove themselves will travel to USA. And I think it's harsh, but obviously it is needed. You cannot have a squad of 30, 40 people,
No,
which
not
I
at all.
think Graham Potter struggled with. But at the same time, you can see the difference between Graham Potter and Pochettino. One is more vocal, one was like a silent spectator, and obviously the physicality you mentioned. So
See,
I think it's
I do
something to
not
look
blame
forward
Potter
to.
for this. I do not blame Potter for this, because
I agree.
Potter has some things, honestly speaking, I would differ here, because Potter also did some kind of good work. But for this, I would held responsible to Tuchel also, because Tuchel later on in the initial stages of last season, especially in the preseason, when he was supposed to be with the team, many of times it was said that he was responsible for overshadowing some things, like he was busy in the managing the transfer thing because we did not have a proper technical guy or something like that. The entire blame should not be put on Potter himself. Tuchel as well as the owners also have to shed some kind of blame for this,
Yeah.
for the last season blunders. Because
Right.
let me tell, because Potter did not do a bad job at Brighton. He did an excellent job at Brighton. What he has achieved and making Brighton what they are today. Potter is responsible for that. ZB has done a good job, excellent job. But who laid the foundation for that? It was Graham Potter.
Absolutely.
So yeah,
And I
so
think
that's a good job. Yeah.
yeah, I think you're spot on. Like when Potter came in, at least majority of us knew that he will take time. He will need his time to get in his ideas. You cannot expect a manager to come in between the season and the kind of manager he is, because Brighton, the way they are playing right now, or where how they were playing when Potter was there, it happened after a couple of seasons. Obviously, Chelsea is known for success. Chelsea, like, hire, fire, done. You either win trophies or you go.
You're
So
out.
that was something which needed to change as well. But at the same time, the results were like really bad. Performances really poor. Players, those who didn't want to be here, being played over players who were willing to give their all. So that made a difference in what Potter did when he was here. So partly he's to blame, but obviously, like you mentioned, it's the whole club which had to be blamed. The players, the staff, the owners, everybody. So obviously now new season, new signings done. You saw Liverpool signing McAllister, Szoboszlai. That
And
now they
Casido,
were.
did you forget Casido?
I was going to bring him later on. I was going to bring him later
Okay.
on. But like Elroy, like Chelsea and Liverpool already played for Caicedo already. Like the last 20, forget about even 48 hours, last 24 hours have been a roller coaster. Chelsea were ahead,
Exactly.
the only bid. Chelsea for some reason bid for Lavia. It pissed off Liverpool. Liverpool go on to bid for Caicedo. They outbid Chelsea. Brighton agreed. Till morning, he was going to Liverpool. But I think those personal terms where he said, no, I'm going to respect my commitment to Chelsea. I think that is what needs to be done by every player, regardless of your price tag. If you have given your commitment, you stay true to it. Your thoughts on
Exactly,
that?
and exactly on that, I'm just telling you that I was just speaking to my friend, what because he happens to be a hardcore Arsenal fan. You know what I told him, that when Rice was going to come to either Chelsea or Arsenal, he said that Arsenal, he wants an Arsenal only. I said no, he wants Chelsea because he is a youth of Chelsea. Well, see, he has already given his commitment to Chelsea, and that set a benchmark. People are now taking decisions on their own and not leaving to their agents, and that for me is a great sign for football to develop. Because if you keep everything given to the agent somewhat he's going to ask what is his stake behind the transfers. He'll have a huge stake, say a 10% his match. He'll get his agent fees or something like that, and if the player is convinced that he wants to join a particular project, then there's no thing coming back from that thing. Because what Liverpool might have done the bid to Casido. We do not know officially. They might have done a bid to Casido. They might have agreed with Brighton, but if the player is saying no, then that means that he is taking the sole responsibility that he wants only one move, that is Chelsea. So that's a great sign that a player is pushing forward for a move. And how long that we have not asked a player to force a move. It is so difficult for Chelsea, for people, because we are not playing any seasons this year. We are not playing a Champions League. We are not in the Europa League or not even a Conference League. And then come and the player is still saying that I still want to play for the champions, for the Premier League giants at Chelsea. That speaks what Chelsea is all about to us.
Right. And obviously, nothing's done yet. Caicedo is yet to be formally signed by Chelsea. Chelsea is yet to make that bid, what everybody is expecting them to do now. But it's a big step forward because obviously, personal terms, he did not agree with Liverpool. He doesn't want to go to Liverpool. But it's all in Chelsea's hands now. And I think we cannot screw up from here. You do. Obviously, see, to be honest, I personally didn't want Caicedo to be bought for 100 million itself. But now we may be
I don't know.
forced to buy him for 150. But like that debate is there on Twitter as well, that there is no other good substitute for Caicedo in the market currently. We lost out on Ugarte early in the transfer window to PSG.
Oh,
So
that is a different story. Let's discuss that later on too.
yeah, so it's like now there are no substitutes for players who are in the market for that specific DM position. What everybody, every manager at Chelsea has been lacking since I think John Obi Mikel left, since N'Golo Kante started getting injured frequently. I think that DM position is not fixed. I think the only guy who came close to achieve greatness in that position after John Obi Mikel was obviously Nemanja Matic, who moved on to Manchester United. And since then, we have just been filling in those gaps. So
Right.
I think it's great that player like Caicedo is about to come, not yet. Obviously, we'll
Yes.
see how it unfolds.
It's going to be a fun as
So
screenings also.
yeah, hopefully. So now, talking about the Liverpool squad, obviously they'll let go of their midfield, their veterans, their fixed midfield in Fabinho, in Henderson, in Chamberlain, in Milner, everybody, and obviously they are rebuilding as well now. Where do you see how much of a threat they are there? Like, because you have Salah who has performed well in the preseason, there is Darwin Nunes who has been in exceptional form. Obviously, there is Luis Diaz now. There is the defenders, obviously. Now, Van Dijk being the captain, I think he'll be taking a more responsibility. We saw last season, towards the end, Trent playing slightly like a midfielder where he flourished like brilliantly. So, on a scale of 1 to 10, how much would you rate Liverpool as a threat to Chelsea? 10 being the highest, obviously.
Eight.
Definitely. Because I agree with you. I don't think so that Chelsea versus Liverpool or even Liverpool with any other team, regardless of however bad their form is, you cannot write them off.
You cannot write them off because they are unpredictable. Because you do not know what will hit. Because you have guys like just signed from something from Leipzig. What I do
Yeah,
not know what is his name.
Sabasai. Yeah,
Yeah, so that they signed that player. Then they have Mac Allister. Then they have Mo Salah, ever reliant Mo Salah. Then you have Darwin Nunes. Then you have Diogo Jota,
right.
and you have in
And
back you have
obviously,
Alice.
Salah in game week one, for all the FPL fanatics, obviously, Salah has been scoring for
Yeah,
fun in game week one, regardless of the opponent. Obviously, we don't want that now, being a Chelsea fan. But
we never won that.
but Salah always seems to score against Chelsea, regardless of how bad
Exactly,
he, in a form he is. He somehow just influences the game.
he does that.
Yeah. So now speaking of important players, like the one Chelsea player you are looking forward to play
This season or the match we're talking about.
the match, Chelsea versus
Um,
Liverpool.
I'm really looking out for this guy. If Marlo Gutso starts, how does he play? Because he has been a rock man. I have never seen a defender bully anyone like what he has done in the preseason. Just single-handedly they bullied up on a penalty or Marlo Gutso, or I would be really curious how this guy plays. Mudrik, very impressive. Mudrik and Jackson.
Right. Right. And I agree
Because
with you. Like on Malo Gusto, obviously, I'm not sure if he'll start or not because obviously Reece James has been announced as the captain for Chelsea Football Club. And if we want him to play, he might slot in the right back as well and not in the DM. I don't think so. Pochettino in the first game itself will risk that thing. But at the same time, Malo Gusto obviously in pre-season handled Mitoma and other wingers, and Mitoma being one of the best wingers in the Premier League. And for people who are saying he cannot defend, I think he can. And obviously, Modric showed some confidence, so he is another player like you
yeah,
mentioned.
yeah,
For
because last
Liverpool, who do
season,
you see?
yeah, I'll just come to that only. Just I'll come to Liverpool. Just last season, Mudrik came in the middle of the season. He did not come in the start of the season.
Right.
Had he come in the start of the season, we could have expected some spark, and he did had some spark in the initial season. Talking about Liverpool, no brainers, man. Mo Salah,
Yeah.
can't deny that
I'm
man.
actually I'm actually looking forward for Trent Alexander-Arnold because see last season he was below par. That everyone will agree, even Liverpool fans. But obviously towards the end of the season and the preseason, I think now if he gets his form up, Liverpool will automatically start playing well. Last season it was just going all wrong for Liverpool. The same way it went horribly wrong for Chelsea. But I think Trent is another player I'm looking forward, or I'm rather skeptical about to see him on the pitch. But let's see.
Trent is a master in free kicks. You cannot
Right.
deny that.
And obviously, if we have Kepa in goal, then it's risky.
Oh God, please! I would prefer to have Sanchez here.
Right. But I think
But
Kepa will start considering
Kepa will
Sanchez
start.
just came and right
Yeah, I
now
was still,
Kepa is
yeah,
ahead.
yeah,
Right.
slightly ahead over there.
So on to my next thing. Now, obviously, we talked about the players we are looking forward for. We talked about the signings. Which, but new signing are you looking forward in Liverpool? Forget about Chelsea because I think Chelsea made n number of signings again this season. The only difference, obviously, the players who left. We will come back to that as well. Which is the most exciting transfer you saw for Liverpool?
McAllister.
But can you believe he was bought only for 35 million for
Exactly,
the
that's what my
form?
question is. For the form he was and buying only for 35 million, and for the form which Caicedo was, we are paying 115 million.
Exactly. I mean, obviously, I think it's good for Liverpool, and I hate Brighton for that. But this somehow Brighton seem to, you know, take advantage of the situation Chelsea is in. I don't blame them as such. Obviously, I do hate them, but I don't blame them because I think everybody knew Chelsea is desperate last season as well. Like the new owner coming in trying to prove something and immediately looking for success. This season, obviously, Chelsea did not have a DM, did not have a striker, so signings were going to be tough. But I think, obviously, like you mentioned, McAllister is a really good player. But I think I would like to mention Saboslai because he is a really good backup for Darwin Nunes. He can play as a number 10, he can play a bit on the wings as well. So it will be interesting to see how he fares in the Premier League. So let's stay tuned for that. Now, speaking of outgoings, obviously we saw Havertz, the Champions League winner. Again, Mount, the guy who assisted Tobin Boy, he was called, and obviously we have other players, Pulisic who left, Loftus-Cheek who left, Chaloba could leave, still debate going on that. Which player you are most upset to see go?
Mason Mount, any day. Fanboy
But
moment for me.
Chelsea fan base was so divided on that. I mean,
Man, that guy, I'll tell you, coming to Mason Mount, that guy, since 2019, he has been a poster boy of Chelsea. He has really saved your asses when, sorry to use that language here, though. He has really saved you when your team needed him the most. Be it 2019 when you were a transfer ban, when 2020 when you had everything going low, he was your highest goal scorer in the Premier League. He was, and see, Mount was not a significant impact on the pitch, but I'll tell you what is Mount does bring. Mount brings a doesn't bring that creativity spark or something. He brings a vibe, and that vibe is called Chelsea vibe. That he brings that connect. That he brings the people together. He brings the fans together. When Drogba started, I'm not emulating him to Drogba level though, but when Drogba started, people had high expectations from him. But he also had a mediocre season. Mount also had mediocre seasons for Chelsea, no doubt in that. But Mount is a person who you want in your team because he's a proper team player. See what is Bayern Munich getting in Harry Kane. Harry Kane is a proper team player. He will
right,
not complain unless he is really upset. Still today, he was not upset that he is leaving Spurs. He was upset that he is leaving Spurs after so long because Spurs made him. Mark my words, Spurs really made Harry Kane. Similarly, for us, we made Mason Mount. For us to let off Mason Mount, I guess it will come back to haunt us if Ten Hag uses him properly.
right. But I think it's, see, I agree with your point. I'm not, obviously, I am a big fan of Mason Mount, especially when he was at Chelsea now. But at the same time, you see Reece James getting the contract, you see Trevor Chalobah, you see now Lewis Hall getting a big contract. You knew that Chelsea can afford big wages. And I think Chelsea did offer him big wages towards the end, but for some reason he was adamant. Obviously, like you mentioned, like you mentioned, if he, see, I'm not saying he doesn't love Chelsea or whatever. Obviously, I don't doubt that. He is going to be Chelsea's poster boy forever because from the age of 6 years old and 7 years old to come up, play for your senior team, score, create many memories, obviously win the Champions League. It's fantastic. But if he really wanted to stay, he could have stayed. Not that the owners did everything wrong. I think Mason Mount decided that he wanted to leave Chelsea regardless of what he had been offered.
Yes, to
So,
add that only, I'm telling you. So for this, I do not blame the owners only. I do
right,
blame Mount for this mess. Because see, who all are responsible, I'll tell you. First is Roman, who is responsible because as soon as the Champions League was over, he was supposed to get a contract, which he did not get a contract.
right,
Then the sanctions thing happened. That's why we did not give him a contract. Then the new owners came. They already had some different ideas of running a football club. And when they offered him a contract, he said that when I wanted a contract, you did not offer me. So why should I stay? And I say it's okay. It was time that he moves on, and we also move on from him.
right. So, like you said, I just hope that he doesn't obviously come back and score against us. So far, he has been poor in the preseason. I mean, not like I think as a Chelsea fan, everybody is enjoying that because of how divided the fan base became behind him. But I think we can just keep supporting Chelsea, and the
Yes.
club is bigger than anybody else,
Yes, the
regardless
club is
of
bigger than
how big
anyone.
the player is.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. So, onto the towards the end of the session now, let's just quickly talk about your starting 11 for Chelsea. Who
For
do you see
tomorrow's game,
starting? Obviously, Nkuku is injured, which is a big blow.
it's a big blow.
And I think he was superb in preseason, and we needed that. And I think he would have done a lot against Liverpool, but now without him, how do you see?
So Kepa in goal. Then I would say Reece James, Ben Chilwell. I'll just go as per the order. I'll not go as per positions as such.
Yeah,
It's Reece James, Ben Chilwell. Then I would prefer Lewis Colwell or someone like Thiago Silva who can bring that calmness in the defense, because you need a calmness against Liverpool. At least you need a calmness.
right.
Colwell, Thiago Silva or someone. Yeah, and there's what is his name? Abu Diab, some Diaby or something with Diazi, who we have signed. But I don't think so. He'll be on the bench because he has not played in preseason for us as such.
Right.
So yeah, this four, followed by Enzo, who is going to Enzo has to start. There's no other option for us right now. Yeah, Enzo and someone like Connor, who has to be with him because we do not have proper holding ones as of now. So Enzo, and this guy. Then you on the up front you will have this Mudrik, Sterling, and what is his name? Maduke, and up front Jackson.
Yeah, I just feel that obviously I think Nicolas Jackson will start. On the I doubt Madueke will start because again, like you mentioned, preseason he hasn't played because of some injury. He is back in training with the team, and I think he'll make the bench. But I think Sterling will start over him. Modric on the left. I see Gallagher, Santos, and Enzo starting. That is what I feel. And obviously Levi Colwill, Thiago Silva, Chilwell, like you mentioned, Reece James, and Kepa. But let's see how it goes. So, because to face Liverpool in the first game after a turbulent season, which went back, and everything being new, I think this is actually the perfect setup. I feel like, regardless of how big the stakes are, I think this is what we live for. Premier League being back, big matches being back, weekend sorted, and
Weekend
obviously
sorted.
Chelsea versus Liverpool. And Chelsea will make a statement if we manage to beat Liverpool. So, but before your prediction, we have a question. Do you guys believe that Caicedo could be the big signing that Pochettino needs to mount the title challenge in his first season? Where will Chelsea finish at the end of the season? So, you can take this.
Okay, so can I get the question again?
Yeah,
Do you guys believe that Casido will be signing? Yeah, we do believe Casido would be a signing that Pochettino needs. But honestly, for a title challenge, I still think we are still raw. We will not be able to contest for the title straight away. It might take us some more time to. Sorry to be what you say bad at this, but we are not title contenders to score so easily right now. But
right,
see, we do not know what will happen in the near future. But I would suggest that a top six or a top eight finish would be an ideal for us, looking at the team which we are in currently, because we have so many let goes in the season going to happen. Because we have do not, and if we do not finish in the top 10, then I would have certain doubts about Pochettino. But I do not think so. That would be a problem for us,
right,
because considering top 8 and top 6 finish would be ideal, because we are just playing the FA Cup, the League Cup, and the Premier League. We are not playing
correct.
any big tournaments as such this season.
Right. I think, obviously, like you mentioned, I don't believe we can contend for the title in the first season of Pochettino itself, along with, City. Arsenal, Newcastle, these three teams, and obviously now Aston Villa coming up. Like pre-season has been fantastic for them, and obviously
Fantastic.
last season you saw when Emery came in and the way they were
And now
playing.
they have and they have the best defender, Pau Torres. You forgot about him.
Exactly. So I don't think so. It's going to be easy, and obviously United now as well. So I don't think so. Title is going to be a very realistic thing. I think either, and but considering that we don't have any other commitments like European commitments, I think more than top six or top four finish would be the best thing, along with maybe a League Cup or a FA Cup. But because see, if I'm just thinking of what Ten Hag did for season, top four finish, League Cup, final of the FA Cup. So I think it is possible. I'm not saying that that is what is going to define Pochettino and this season, but I think we can be a bit positive and optimistic in saying that at least either League Cup or FA Cup, along with the top four finish. Top six also, like you mentioned, won't be bad, but I don't think so. We can play Conference League. Top eight will not do for Chelsea Football Club. I think at most we can go to top six, play Europa League next season. But let's
Let's see
see.
because
Yeah,
it's going to be a tough season for us
exactly.
because we because a lot of players, we are now we do have a good squad, we do have a squad, but honestly, on paper, our first 15 players are good. But we need to develop our backups very well. In that case, if we have to contest for the top four at least, we need to have our backup stronger, and we
Right,
still need to have a good transfer window, and which is not going to happen so easily because now we are spending so much with the transfer thing and all this stuff. And next season we'll be having the FPL rollout also, FF financial fair play thing coming up. We got to be on a safer side because
right,
we still have to offload Hakim Ziyech, Romelu Lukaku. Then you have Callum Hudson-Odoi, who is going to be sold most likely, or who's going to get his contract is going to get terminated.
right.
I would suggest that we should still keep them because we still need their experience in the team, even though they are a bad influence on the team right now. But these kind of people know how to handle big game situation.
Correct. And we are still forgetting that this Chelsea side is a very young Chelsea side now. Barring Thiago Silva, obviously no one is 30. I think the oldest player after him is Kepa.
Kepa,
But
right?
sorry,
It's Kepa only, no one else.
yeah.
No, it's
So
Lukaku. Lukaku right now. Lukaku.
I'm not considering him the team right now. It's fine. It's fine.
It's
I'm not
right.
considering. He's done. I'm still surprised. How can one player manage to piss off n number of clubs in different countries? How can you manage to do that? I mean, you need some kind of special ability to piss off Inter, Juventus, United, Chelsea, and he didn't even play for United since I don't know 2016 or 17. So
And Everton also. You forgot Everton.
yeah, now even Everton hate him for some reason. They're like, चलो अभी हम लोग भी ले लेते हैं chance. But yeah, so like Elroy also mentioned, all team needs subs which are up to the mark because the new rule is coming in Premier League, which we saw in the World Cup, where the injury time is going to be extended because to discourage the time wasting, obviously. And we see the same in the Women's World Cup currently, where we see 10, 12, 15 minutes which have been added on. So it's going to be unique. It's going to be a long game, and obviously the teams how they fare is going to be defined from the players who are coming from the bench as well. So it's up to how good your bench is, how good your maybe 20 players are.
Right.
So
Are you happy with the
because
new
injuries
rules
will
as such?
also start coming on. This is only the first game week as we speak. So the last question: how do you predict Chelsea versus Liverpool? So
It's a draw for me. 1-1.
1-1 draw. Who scores?
For us, it's Jackson who scores.
And for Liverpool,
Mo Salah.
I didn't expect any other answer from that. So thank you, Soham, for coming on. But obviously, before you leave, like I mentioned in the start of the show, you have, and as you mentioned very, passionately that what Thane Blues is doing. But and you all also have a screening coming up. So can you just say a bit more on that?
Yes, so guys who are watching us on a Fanspire thing and on, who are going to be shared. So remember one thing that we are having a screening in Thane in Wagre Estates. The name of the place is The Studs. So if you have not registered so far for our screenings, please log on to our visit our page Chelsea Thane Blues. You can just DM us. We will get back to you shortly. And once you just message us, we will send you the link for registrations. It is open for all the Chelsea fans as well as the Liverpool fan clubs who would like to come to join us. And let's have a fun together on Sunday evening at 9 p.m. at Vaga Estate The Studs. See you there, guys.
So thank you, Soham. Thank you for everybody tuning in and for your questions. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the Fanspire. And do share this video before the game week one kicks off. And obviously, Chelsea versus Liverpool kicks off on Sunday 9 p.m. So if you have your predictions, do drop them in the comments. Do drop into our DMs. So let's see. Okay, I think okay. Yes, we have a fan of Priyanka as well. Isn't Priyanka here to represent us Reds? Unfortunately, not. She had other commitments because of which she couldn't come. Maybe once Liverpool start winning, she might end up on the show again. So
Then
let's hold on to that.
we might come again and troll her up.
Right. So let's see, Everest. Let's see how and when Liverpool win and she comes on. But obviously, she will be tuning into this as well, and she will appreciate you supporting her. So, everybody, thank you for tuning in again, and have a good weekend. Enjoy football again, and see you all next time. See you. Good night. Bye bye.
Bye for now, everyone. Take care.